All right, cyber traders, good morning and welcome on back here this Monday, June 7th. For all of us in social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, welcome on back. As you can probably already tell, this is not Fausto Pugliese. Instead, my name is Josh Levitin. I'm the senior instructor here at Cyber Trading. You may know me from doing the afternoon broadcast, but great to see all of us here. Bonnie, Michael, Randy, Grant, Kathy, Andrea, Debbie, Stefan, all of our students live inside Cyber Group. If I didn't give you the quick shout right there, welcome on back. So, hey, folks, it was a beautiful weekend here. We ended up just enjoying out here in Long Island. It was nice. I ended up having a friend's birthday party, nice barbecue. Great to be back, though, right? I mean, I'm excited for this week. And to begin, I want to go over a couple of housekeeping notes. Nothing really too big across this week. Just want to reiterate, Fausto is actually out today up until Thursday of this week. He'll be back on Thursday the 10th. He's in Florida. I don't know exactly where, maybe Orlando, Tampa. I know he has a financial summit conference he has to go to. And, with COVID last year, it was tough for him to do, a lot of different things outside the office, outside the state even. So, with that in mind, he'll be back on Thursday. You got me here up until then. So, hey, let's jump right to it. So we have the CLNE here CLNE trade here up on the screen to begin. I was just checking out BNGO Pro right before I started, and there's really not much news out there for the stock. If anything, it's more like speculation upon this being a Wall Street bet stock, alongside others like AMC and BlackBerry. I'm not going to correlate them with AMC or BlackBerry just yet, but for right now, beautiful squeeze either way. Nice. Trend from 10-ish when it ended up building after 8 o'clock up towards 10:50. We ended up trading the stock back on Friday, so we're not too unfamiliar with the stock itself. Ended up making a big pop and drop though, unfortunately, after the market opened back Friday at the end of last week. You would have wanted to see a nice, beautiful pop and run, at least not to see such a sharp drop off right away. So, this ended up actually providing as much better of a short opportunity Friday than it was a long opportunity. Here today, hopefully this could be the beginnings of the new squeeze, the new run back up. If anything, heading into the market open, I'm definitely expecting, a pullback, a higher low to be built. One thing about this trade is that, it already broke out over 10:15-ish, 10:20. So that could be the level to where this could pull back to. No problem. Just putting this on our main list to begin here, the CLNE. If it ends up dumping off even more, as I always like to say myself, if it ends up crapping out the other way, the stock is at least shortable. So, that would be kind of history repeating itself if that happens from Friday, right? But hey, what we'll do is really just talk about a couple of the stocks that we ended up trading, putting on our pre-market watch list before I started this meeting. We typically open up our live trading room Cyber Group as early as 7:30 Eastern time. I mean, Fausto will post the list himself right prior to 8 a.m. I ended up posting the list right around 7:50-ish. The list this morning, we had RMED, Next, BNGO, AREC, and ATOS, and of course a couple of others like CLNE we ended up calling out afterwards. But let's start by going over those. We ended up having a decent pre-market for a Monday today. BNGO, after the market opened and after we put this on our watch list, ended up making the pop, ended up breaking out above resistance off of the highs off 750, 755, ended up moving up really well at the time. Now, of course, you could see the stock ended up building a bit of a top right off 790. You would assume major resistance to be off of 8. So, I would assume both to be level, 790 resistance, then from there, 8. Bonnie's asking, is the music still on? I don't think the music is still on, folks. Yeah, it should not be. All right, good. Just double checking there. If anyone has any issues, I think that Rich will be able to just chat you. But, for right now, though, hey, BNGO easily enough. We'll put this on our watch list. You could see it pulling back off those highs. So nonetheless, either way, we'll see where this, leads us to. I ended up charting a few levels early in pre-market here, not on the screen, but I ended up putting lines on my chart. I mean, 50-cent levels and whole numbers. 730 was a really strong level back from Friday's trading, a pop and drop. It broke above that price, but snapped back down pretty quick from it. It's holding above that price as a pre-market support for right now. And then also, I would say 758 to 760. That's practically where this broke out from off the highs. So that should be a bit of a support level if it dips back there after the market opens. So like CLNE, I'll just add this to the list already. All right, so BNGO, nice little pop after 8 a.m. Now, the bigger focus, though, is the AREC stock. This one, kind of came from nowhere. I did put this on the list after I initially posted the watch list at first, but ended up making the big push from 350. And once this ended up popping up to like 380, 375, that's when I put it on the watch list. So granted, this ended up making as good of a move as you can imagine, not just some wacky pop and drop, and then it dumps all the way back down. Thankfully, this gave us a lot of room to, capitalize on this trade with. So, the news on this stock, AREC, American Resources, successfully achieved high purity of rare earth element neodymium. I don't know much about it, but that sounds really cool. Like, nice headline. They found it using its chromatography process. Last time I ever learned anything about that was probably environmental science back in middle school, high school. So, either way, hey, I'm interested in the trade because the stock made a big move. It has really good liquidity on the book, tight spread. So nonetheless, the AREC trade easily will put on our list with these others. All right, then what was the last one here? I thought there was one more. Oh, you know what? I actually didn't put it on the pre-market watch list, but it was one I was thinking about. I didn't put it on, but ended up making a nice push. And actually, right now, here, pushing up even more, the LMNL trade, Liminar Biosciences. Let me just get the news out on this here as well. But as you can see, ended up just making a sharp pop over 6. I would assume support to be built around that price after the market opens. Oh, that's right. So this is the one I did copy and paste this like real early in the morning. So this was actually from Friday. Popped in on Friday. It was halted off of volatility, but the news out, they reported an FDA approval for its biologics license application for, I guess, one of their drugs, Riplasium. My apologies there. So LMNL, either way, just going to put this on our watch list. This wasn't on the pre-market, but of course we were watching this, afterwards, after 8:30, ended up building support off of, 580-ish, 575, you could see there right before we started. Then just made the pop over 6. So look to see after the market opens up, like a lot of these, once you see the pullbacks, look to see a higher low being built, support, and in this case for this one off of 6. All right, so those are the 3 big ones from pre-market. I guess I could talk about RMED, but that's number 2 on the gainers list already. So at this point, we'll just go from top to bottom, right? So RMED, here we go. I mean, it popped early in pre-market. We put this on our watch list as well, but this one died off like really early on. Practically as soon as I posted the list, this was building its top, ended up topping off roughly around 780-ish. And then just some wacky spikes back down here. I don't know if those are just, dark pool transactions that lead to those spikes. But either way, the reaction afterwards was a further drop. Top being built here off of like 745, 750, and it's only sinking lower here. That doesn't mean I think it's going to keep dropping after the open. It looks like it's going to, drop at first. But given how far this stock had dropped just across the last year, just seeing it drop from like 60, 65 bucks back around March of 2020, all the way down to single digit sub 5, sub 3. So, no surprise as to why this stock is getting a bit of a squeeze. If there's news out on it, that's going to lead to a short squeeze, to see people cover their shorts and lead to a domino effect. And at this point, we're pretty familiar with that, right? BlackBerry, AMC, all the Reddit, Wall Street bet crowd stuff. That's all based on a short squeeze, high short interest based stocks. So, I don't know the short interest on RMED, but the chart speaks for itself. So for right now, it doesn't look that great now at this point, but I'll put it on our list still. Looks really interesting based on the opportunity. If we could see a support built from here, or maybe off 650, and then the run back up even higher. All right, so we're going to skip over a couple because AREC's on our list here. This one's just way too expensive, I can tell. The next stock was on our pre-market watch list also. This was like one of the only other ones that I didn't go over. This one ended up making a nice move after 7 a.m., ended up kind of fizzling back down. As you could see, just never really ended up making that good breakout after off 320. Drop back down to 3. It might drop back down as low as those spikes after 8 a.m., maybe down towards 275, 280-ish. Possibility. For right now, I don't mind adding this to our list as well. It doesn't seem like it's in that great of a stage here, but again, it's just one that we'll see if this can open up off of news, off of past momentum and pre-market to see a low being built and then a breakout later on. All right. LEDs, however you may pronounce it. I think Fausto calls it leads. I call it LEDs. Either way, LEDS ended up making a big squeeze after 8:30. Unfortunately, though, this thing is just fizzling back down already, or not back down, but fizzling back a bit, trading in a bit of a range. And this stock is just so illiquid, and I think that's a real word now. I used to say, I don't know if that's a real word. I had checked. I think it is. But look at the order book. It's just very spaced out, blank, illiquid, as I would say otherwise, and doesn't provide much transparency of support resistance. So makes it much more difficult to anticipate a clean trade or breakout. So, hey, unless if you're doing this on a couple shares or, just much smaller position size, then I'd probably just pass. BNGO already on our list. It looks like it's dropping back down still, but familiar name still at least. All right, this ADMP popped. I think it was on Thursday or maybe just Friday last week to wrap it up. Yeah, I think it was Thursday. Ended up making a big push from like 70 cents all the way up to $1.20 here today early in pre-market. It was one of my first call outs, just saying it was squeezing up after 7:30, and unfortunately this died off like the RMED. This one though, obviously good spread, good volume, and all of that stuff, but not a whole lot life to it here right now. So if it ends up making a move after 9:30, I'm sure we'll be there to call it out, but I want to put the focus on others here in the meantime. one familiar name. So this one we've seen a run up just over the last, couple weeks, week and a half. Obviously back from this time last year, practically ended up making a huge squeeze for us there. So, for all of our students and members inside Cyber Group that were there at that time, you certainly just have that in the back of your head already. That's why we were very, frequent to call this out at the end of last week, popping up, expecting a nice big run. If we didn't get it at the time, then we would understand because we don't control the stock. But just based on past history, then gives you the confidence to hope or anticipate a potential run given certain circumstances. Right now, this is just kind of flat here. It ended up making a small, low volume move up from 14, but not a whole lot happening now. All right, the AHT trade. I'll call it OT. AHT, I guess, hospitality stock. We're also pretty familiar with this trade. Ended up making a big move, of course, as you could see, going back into the end of May. After Memorial Day, we came back. It popped up even more up, towards 6. Stock has been shortable this whole time. So, and I've been saying that for months now, but, with this stock just at the end of last week dropped off. It was just as good of a short opportunity on Thursday as it was a long opportunity the day before. So here for right now, this morning today, hey, it's pushing up nice, up over 8%. Looks low risk, looks cheap, and trade a few thousand shares. And again, if it goes the other way by any measure, then we could try and follow it, on the way down. But it definitely, the AHT trade on the way up so far looks good. Mavis, familiar name, right? We're familiar with Microvision, obviously, just from the run up that we've caught back in beginning of 2021. Losing track of my months really, but this stock's been through the spin cycle. I guess at the same time, this thing's been all over the place. Up and down, up and down. You could just see on the daily chart. So it's hard to keep track of specific days and pops for this trade here. But even right now, heading into the market open, just so flat. I'd rather focus on others here right now going into the open before this. All right, let's see what else we got here. We're getting close to the 5% category here. ATOS, familiar name. I had this on our pre-market watch list, not necessarily for the same reason as like RMED and the others in terms of volatility, but just based on the trend the stock was making. It was breaking above Friday's high already in pre-market. So it's definitely one to consider, worth watching. It's on the side list though for right now still. It's just same reason as Mavis, lack of trend. This one a lot less volatile, so less risky than MVIS even, but not a whole lot happening just yet. All right, so that leads me, I guess, to the Blackberries, the AMCs. I'm not going to show AMC. It's going to freeze up my screen here, so I'm sorry. But Blackberry, nice trend after 8 o'clock at least, proving itself to be, I don't think it needs to prove itself to be a volatile stock. But, a good opportunity perhaps on the way up this morning. So trending up pretty well leading into the market open. I don't mind adding BlackBerry to our main list. AMC is obviously really expensive, out of the price range for myself and a lot of us here. Also out of the range for a lot of us in terms of volatility. If it was, cheaper in price, I would love to at least trade AMC, but it's what I got BlackBerry for, right? What else? I know there was one I skipped here. There's definitely one I skipped. Oh, here we go. My scanner's being pesky right now. It's refreshing on me. Workhorse, WKHS. Then we'll hop over to the losers list. Workhorse also making a nice squeeze, even before 8 a.m. Between BNGO and Workhorse, those are the two stocks that I did the time to prep and line up leading into the market open. So for any of the students like Bill or Wayne or Greg that messaged me earlier in pre-market, I would just say, I'm focused primarily on Workhorse and BNGO to begin, but obviously from our list otherwise, between AREC, CLNE, Next, the AHT trade, even BlackBerry after the first 5 minutes, I'll be jumping right to that. But I'm probably going to start right at 9:30 on BNGO and then this Workhorse trade here. All right, there we go. So let's hop over to the losers list here. Oh, actually, really quick, I just looked on YouTube, which I always get to at the end, but I just saw the comment and I said, oh, yeah, that's right. I guess I skipped over it somehow, or maybe it dropped off. Who knows? The AMBO stock, RJF was commenting on that on YouTube. Yeah, that was on the gainer side for a bit, right? I don't know why I can't find it. Maybe it dropped off. Oh, it's up 15%. I guess I just skipped over it. Yeah, good call. Definitely. AMBO. So we already have a pretty big list here at this point, folks, right? But AMBO definitely, for right now, should be on that watch list. Good spread stock, good liquidity, and just watch the daily chart as well. History repeats itself, pops and drops within the same day, and if it's not the same day, then just the following day it will dump off pretty sharply. So, I would just be careful on this trade. Don't look to turn it into a swing trade just yet. See what happens within the first 30 minutes of the market opening up. But yeah, good call. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list, and I'll tell you, really, as I was doing my prep for this morning, I just scanned the losers list as well, and I didn't have a single stock on the loser side here. So maybe MGI now at this point. We'll see. It's down 6.5%, 113,000 shares traded in pre-market, $10 stock and shortable. So for all those reasons, if I really wanted to, I could add it to our list, but I like what we have so far. We don't need to be overwhelmed with this stock and that stock, and just it gets to be a lot of noise. So unless if anything looks tremendous on the way down as a really good short opportunity, then I'm probably just going to call it here. I'll check out BNGO Pro, check out the chat boards again one last time, but I think that we cleaned up most of the gainers and losers list here. Yeah, that's just about it. Unless if there was anything down 35, 50% here, and there isn't. I mean, this is test stock from TradeStation, so I always skip that. Let's see from the chat board here in Cyber Group. Grant calling out the LMNL trade already on our list, but saying the LMNL trade holding 620, now dropping down to 6. That was about a few minutes ago, so it pulled back and made just the pop back up briefly. So still holding strong for right now. I don't know if I ended up writing this stock down or not. I definitely added it to our list. I don't think I wrote it down until now. So I appreciate you mentioning that call, Grant, because by the end of this meeting, I don't think that would have been on our list there. Definitely was on to begin, though. All right, so folks, on YouTube, Facebook Live, anything else that you folks have for me? We got about 12 minutes until the market opens up. I always like to try and finish up early in the mornings to make sure that you folks have the chance to prep your charts, go through the iceberg orders yourself, tape read, make sure you know where the big levels are already outside those that I, kind of commented on to begin with. I'll tell you, just checking out BNGO Pro, the only thing that I see that is popping. It's already on our list, I think. Actually, it's not on our list. This one I meant to not put on our list, the lead stock. So it's a level 5 stock. If you did well on leads from last week, Wendy, if you did really well and made a lot of money on it, I'm sure you're just going to follow it again this morning. But if you didn't, it's just a distraction. There are a lot better stocks otherwise on the watch list to follow. The stock already moved up from 10 up to 26 and obviously can keep going a bit, I guess, but I certainly wouldn't think right away. So I would just follow others to begin with, unless if you've already done well on this stock from the last week. That's for you to look in the mirror and decide, though, right? Like for myself, I do well on Workhorse day to day, or at least week to week, with it active this morning in pre-market. That's why I was telling you folks, I'm probably sticking on Workhorse at the open. Probably same thing with BNGO. Probably BlackBerry, after the first 10, 15 minutes, so I don't get my platform frozen at least there. But nonetheless, we have a good list, folks, heading into the market open in total. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 stocks to work with heading into the market open, of course, plenty others to work with, afterwards at least. We'll work together as a team. For anything that doesn't move from this list, we'll kind of cut it. For anything that does move, that pops or drops afterwards, we'll call it out and work together there. All right, folks? For all of us in social media, you got me for the majority of this week. Actually, in fact, Fausto will be back on Thursday. I am leaving on Thursday, so we're doing a little substitution there. Going on a nice trip to Phoenix on Thursday for the extended weekend, at least. I'll be back on Monday. But nonetheless, though, you got me up until Wednesday. Then Fausto comes back at least to finish up the week. All right, folks. For all of us on social media, if you've yet to have the chance, feel free to like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel. That being youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, feel free to join us live inside the Cyber Group Trading Room. Just go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. All right. For all of us there, I'll talk to you all coming up pretty shortly. Take care.